Or
Oh yeah. Okay. So we're doing a bunch of hip stuff today, which is
good.
nobody loves this word, but it's super necessary. And I've been looking at a bunch of PT videos, and basically everything that I have that athletes are trying to fix stems from the hips. So we're going back to hip work. So starting balancing on one leg, we're going to start with just a straight leg lift. From that lift, bend the knee in, extend the leg, and drop. So think it's a straight leg raise, bend the knee, extend, back down. So hip flexor, knee, knee, hip flexor. And go through 10 of those. And you want them to all be really different movements. So it's a lift, pause, knee bend, pause, extension, pause, drop, pause. 10 of those. You could do it all in one big funky movement. But the idea is to have that muscle basically reel it up, stop, have a different connection of muscles, fire to pull it in. So it just makes it easier for like isolation. Go through 10 on one side, 10 on the other. And one of the most important parts about this is making sure your rectangle is staying a rectangle. So these are the corners of your rectangle. It's easy to lean towards the leg that is sturdy. So keep trying to correct and make sure that the shoulders are level. Go through 10 of those on the other side. These are going to get progressively harder. So this is just like waking up that hip, making sure it's moving. Woo. We have some really tricky balance stuff here in a little bit. If you're not drinking now, you'll at least feel like you have been. All right, the opposite of that is going to be the knee bend first. So it's going to be knee drive, leg extension, hamstring flexion, leg extension. So knee up, extension, bend, return. 1 is knee bend, 2 is extension, 3 is knee bend, 4 is drop. And again, try to isolate each of those movements. So there's just a second of pause between each one. And ideally, there's no movement in the upper half of the body. Make sure you're not doing anything weird with your hands. A lot of times when we balance, we'll like stick out our pinkies or like become like T-Rex arms with these weird like, I don't know, it's like you can't think about anything else, so your hands just start to do these weird things. All right, 10 of those, and then switch, same thing, knee drive, so that's all in that hip flexor. Quad fires for the extension, hamstring fires for that curl, and then extend back to neutral. So it's 4 quick steps with each movement. Ten of these. All right, when you're done with those, you just need a little bit of space. You're gonna go feet together, chin to the chest, roll down, walk the hands out to a plank. We're going push up, knee comes into the chin. So from the side, you're here. Push up, knee comes into the chin. You're alternating legs, 10 total, 5 on each side. Push up, knee tuck. Push up. Knee tuck. Oh yeah, Molly. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. That hurt. All right, from there you're going hip drop, chin up to the ceiling. Drop the face, drop the chest, hips come high. Drop the hips, so you're going into this big arched eyes up, chin up. Like, shift the weight back to the heels, stretch them out. Go through 5 of those slow. That should just feel like it warms up the shoulders, opens up the core. Movement in the back. All right, once you're done with those 5, you're gonna lay down on the ground. Assuming you can see me. So check down the ground. Flex the feet so that the toes are down the ground. And I had something here earlier just so you could kind of get the idea of what I'm going after. So lift the leg up, bring it up and over, almost like you had a weight or like a basketball or something you're trying to go over, and then bring it back to neutral. So go through 10. Goodness, you're needy today. So check that there's no rotation in that foot. It's just like a string is attached to that heel, lifts it up, brings it over whatever that imaginary item is that you're trying to avoid, and brings it back. So 10 of these on one side, you're just like you're drawing an arch, like a rainbow. 10 on one side and then switch, 10 on the other. So this is a lot of lower back glute. If you could like dig your thumb into that glute, you can feel exactly what's firing. From here, both feet down, you can point the toes so that now the arches are on the, the top of the foot is on the ground. Hands underneath the chin, and you're just doing 10 of these back arches. So fingertips are underneath the chin, arch up and back down for 10. And then once you're done with those 10, hold up high, and you're going elbows pull back, fingertips come back to the chin. Elbows pull back, fingertips come back to the chin. So we're just asking your erector spinae, your lower back, that little diamond, to just keep holding you up while you have this little like wiggle, little shift in weight. And the lats are what's pulling down. We're basically simulating like a lat pull. All right, go through 10 of those and then stand up slowly, and we'll go through all of that again. So to the side now. This will look very familiar. Rather than going to the front, now you're going to the side. So pick a leg to balance on, make it a soft knee. You don't ever want to lock the knee out. Side raise with the leg, bend the knee in, straighten out the leg, drop the leg back down. So 10 of those. Straight, bend, straighten, drop. Straight leg, side lift, lateral lift. Drive the knee in. So if you could keep the fingertips right on that like iliac crest, the top of that, that's like the arch of your pelvis. There's no tilt. So this hip really almost doesn't even know what's happening over here because the pelvis is really just staying the same. The femur is just moving inside of the pelvis. 10 of those. And again, if you can like dig your thumb into the meat on the outside of that hip, you can feel that hip abductor fire. Glute med, if you like reach around far enough around the back. Hip abductor is gonna be truly what's like your lateral puller, but you'll feel that glute med in the back firing to lift it up as well. 10 of those. And then we'll do the opposite of that. So the opposite is going to be bent knee, leg extension, bent knee, back to neutral. So lift, side kick, knee in, extend. So it's really easy to want to lean, and if you were like kicking somebody in the face, that would be very helpful. But for now, we're trying to teach movement and the resistance against movement. So although the right leg, right hip is the one that's doing a lot of the movement, the left hip should be the one where you may feel it more or at least equal to that right side. Do you feel it more on the left side or right?
Yeah, more on the left side. Right?
Yeah.
It's just stabilized.
Yep. So that stabilizing leg is almost doing more work than that moving leg. Because it's trying to resist, it's working on this anti-lean, anti-rotation. Same thing on the other side. Sorry, I think I've done too many. If you get me talking, I can just do 100.
I could barely do 10. I'm not talking.
I just get distracted. Think about that rectangle. So don't lean. The reason we do all these weird movements is to strengthen the body's ability to move in all these, like, your body can move in a truly millions of different patterns. And a lot of times we get injured when we just hit one of those that we weren't quite ready for. So this is to kind of strengthen all these different ranges of motion where you could potentially get hurt. So then go feet together, chin to the chest, roll down. You'll go back to push up. And then in between that, you're gonna go right knee to the right elbow or right tricep. And eyes come over to look at it. And that may seem like a weird detail, but by taking your head over to the side, you now create this big C curve in the spine. So 10 of those, 5 on each side. You should feel that oblique working because the oblique is what's pulling that knee in, arching the body around to the side. Yay! All right, and then for these hip drivers, you're gonna go right hip down to the ground, even hip drive up, big stretch. Left hip down to the ground, big hip drive, hip stretch. 5 on each side, 10 total. All right, and then from there, lay down. Whoop. All right, so laying down, you're back to this like flexed foot. So the ball of the foot and the toes are up. You have this big flex in the foot. Now you're gonna lift that leg straight up, whatever leg you decide, and you're just taking that leg out wide and back to neutral. Out wide. So rather than drawing a rainbow, you're drawing like a straight line across the top of what would be the arch of that rainbow. There's got to be a trigonometry word for that. Ten of those. And then go through the same thing on the other side. Lift that leg, swing it wide, keep the toes pointing down. A lot of times we want to just bend the knee and open up the hip. It's just easy. Rotation can often be easier than frontal plane movement. All right, and now go back to that, but keep the toes connected to the ground. Slide the leg out, back in. So it's the same thing, but now you're keeping the toes connected to the ground. Whereas last time the toes had been like 6 inches off the ground, now the toes are just dragging across the carpet. And if your carpet is as clean as ours, you're gonna want to stay down there as long as you can. Same 10 on the other side. I vacuumed yesterday.
No, the dust in the corner there.
I'm no champion vacuumer, I'm learning.
What happens if you cut drywall in the house?
You can become a bad vacuumer. All right, when you're done with those 10, stand back up. I'll go through it again.
What?
So now to the back, similar idea. Start with that straight leg lift. Leg goes straight to the back, knee bends. It's a hamstring curl. Extend, drop the leg down. Straight leg lift, knee bend, extension, lower down. Lift. For that knee bend, it's a part curl. I'm not pulling the knee up to my chest. So this is just glute and hamstring to lift, just hamstring to curl, extension, drop. So both work together for that straight leg lift. Hamstring works in isolation. I mean, the glute is technically still firing, but the actual movement is occurring because the hamstring is firing to curl the leg. I could see the argument that technically is 10. And same thing on the other side. You should feel that in the hamstring. Do you feel the hamstring?
Not
If you don't feel it in the hamstring, make it more of a hamstring curl. So you're pulling the heel as much as you can up to the glute. Check that you're not leaning forward. This is a good one to do up against a wall because it just won't allow you to lean forward. 10 of these. And then we're gonna do the second variation next, 10 on each side. That second variation is the curl first. So go hamstring curl, and it's like a donkey kick. Leg extension, hamstring curl, extension. So hamstring curl, it works just like a bicep. You're just going curl, straighten, curl, down. It's hard to do with your arm as well. Anyhow, don't do the arm movement. That was just for fun. You should feel that in the hamstring because that's really isolated. You're going from this isolated hamstring curl to now this extension where the glute can help a little, but really the hamstring is all that's really responsible. Like you're putting a flat footprint like up against a wall back behind you. All right, so 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. Other side, you're just doing that curl, hamstring curl, flat foot kick back, in, back down, 10 of those. And remember, as important as what is moving is what is not moving. So the upper half of the body has to work pretty hard to not lean forward or to not lean away from that leg, to not just collapse. All right, after those 10, you're going back down to that plank. So feet together, chin to the chest, roll down, walk the hands out. Third round. First round, we did knee to the chin, then we did knee to the same arm. Now we're doing knee to the opposite arm. So push up, right knee touches the left elbow. Push up, left knee touches the right elbow. Push up. 5 on each side, 10 total. You're ideally wanting to get that knee to hip line parallel with the ground. So the femur is parallel with the ground at the furthest point of that rotation. All right. From there, you're going back to hip drop, chin up. This time when you come up with the hips, you're driving the right hip higher than the left. So you're symmetrical even on the down, and you're asymmetrical and twisted on the way up. So 5 on each side, 10 total. So the first round here was neutral. The second round was with a rotation at the bottom. And this third round is with the rotation at the top. All right, when you're done with those 10, you'll lay down on the stomach. We forgot to do the back extensions last time, sorry. We'll add those in. All right, so this time the leg you're working on is gonna have a bent knee. So first start with those same rainbows. Drive the knee up and over, out wide, knee up and over, come back in. So doing 10 of those. And imagine that the line from the knee to the heel should stay perpendicular to the ground the whole time. It's hard to do. I have to like watch it to make sure I'm actually doing it. 10 of those. So your tibia and fibula, the two bones between the knee and the ankle, are not tilting. They're staying directly up and down. 10 of those, and then same thing on the other side, up and over, up and back. All right, and then you're going back to the leg you started with. So knee bent, knee up, and just take it out wide, back to neutral. Out wide, back to neutral. So just swinging it out, back in. 10. You should be feeling this, like a lower back, all of this should feel really tight. Same thing on the other side, bend the knee, lift the knee, and just keep it out. Like, 6 inches off the ground. Ten of these. Nice job. So from here, for the lower back extensions, I would go ahead and point the toes, so you have the top of the feet on the ground. Arms are gonna be straight out this time, and you're doing 10 lifts with the lower back. So the lower back is firing to lift the chest up and off the ground. You're in what we call like streamline. These are called what, Supermans? Some superhero. We're gonna name movements after animals, superheroes, or countries. Name an exercise that isn't one of those. Speed skaters.
Bench press.
Well.
Squat.
All right, we're doing with those 10. Hold up high. Bend the elbows, extend the arms. Bend the elbows, extend the arms. So that lower back is firing to hold you up the whole time. The lats are firing to just pull the elbows in. This is a really good shoulder mobility. They're really good, like wax on, wax off. Movements that you can do to strengthen the shoulder if you're having any kind of like shoulder issues. 10 of those. All right, so now we're gonna do a different variation, but we're not gonna stand up. So Jason has so kindly provided one of these little cushions. Maybe you have a cushion, or you can use like a pillow, whatever you want. But put the knee that you're gonna be balancing on there, just so that we're gonna spend a bit of time on there, just so it doesn't bother that leg. And then bring the other leg out in front of you, okay? So you have this straight leg. All right, so we're gonna try to do the same thing we were just doing when we were standing up. I tried these earlier and I fell over, so I'm hoping that today goes a little better. So you're gonna lift the leg, extend the leg, bend the knee, set the foot back down. Lift the leg, extend, in, back down. Go through 5 of those. So we're going hard first, and then we're gonna go back to easy, only because I found that by the time I had done all the easy ones, my leg was too tired to even do that. Now do just 5 straight leg lifts. Again, trying to have as little movement in the upper body as possible. Not like what I just did. And then do those same 2 things on the other side. So start with the harder one, where you're doing the knee lift, leg extension, in, back down. So still 4 movements, just like what we did earlier when we were standing. I told you these are harder. I told everybody these are harder. Feel like, am I getting any benefit out of this? I guess, especially you can always hold on to something. I don't happen to have anything nearby. All right, and then those 5 where you're just going lift, lower, like 5 stomps. All right, second round is going to be out to the side. So now that leg is here, is like opened up, pelvis is still forward. Same idea, I'm doing knee lift, leg extension, knee bend, foot drops down. Lift, extend, in, drop down. So don't do what I'm doing, which is like very clearly leaning away from that leg. Go through 5 of those. And then finish with just those 5, lift, lower, lift, lower. It's a lot of hip flexor stuff today. This is all really good for you. 5 of those, and then switch sides. We're just doing 5 of each because there are a bunch of different little combos we want to go through. So that leg is externally rotated starting from the hip. You do a knee lift. I feel like the first one's always hard because I want to like overcompensate and lean away from that leg. 5 of these. And then finish with those 5 stomps. All right, then go back to your fresh leg. And we're gonna do the same kind of idea that we did when we were laying down on the stomach and you were doing those rainbows. So you're lifting that leg up and over, take it out wide, up and over, bring it back in. Up and over wide, up and over, bring it back in. So 5. And then before you switch, so 5 over and back, so really you're lifting it 10 times. And then 5, we're just sliding the leg. Now we're keeping the foot connected to the ground. Really similar to what we did earlier. So now you have less help from the muscle that's involved with just lifting the leg, and it's more just a hip abductor, hip adductor, hip adductor, hip abductor. 5 of those, and then switch sides. So you're doing those lifts first. We're always doing the harder variation first, just so you can get that down. And then kind of fatiguing it with a simpler movement there at the end. 5 of these. And then 5 slides out and in. Man, time flies when you're having fun with your hip flexors. We have time for like 2 minutes reps. All right, when you're done with those, lay down. Yay! All right, so starting off, actually balancing on the hips, so don't totally lay down. Lean back and go legs straight out, knees tuck in. Legs straight out, knees tuck in. So we're still working on hip flexors, but we're not gonna do any fine movements, like no little flutter kicks. Or go through 10 of these. You lean back, extend the legs, you come up, tuck the knees in. 10. And then lay back down, legs are in tabletop, arms are straight up. And you're just doing these like dead bugs, where you're just alternating. One arm out, up. And check that when that leg stops, the knee is over the hip. So you'll have a tendency to want to like tuck the knees in. You're doing left leg, right arm, right leg, left arm. Just alternating, opposing arms. 10. When you're done there, hands come behind the head, keep the legs in tabletop. Take one leg out, chin to the chest. Little crunches, you're keeping the lower half of the body still and just going through 10 little crunches with the upper half of the body. And then go through the same thing with the other leg extended and the other leg tucked in. 10. Like 30 seconds left. And then finish with the hands under the hips, legs straight up, hip drop, leg drop. Hip drop, or hip raise, leg drop, whatever that is. Hip raise, leg drop. Go through 15 of these and then you're done. You can either relax the head and neck or you can keep the chin up to the chest. This should just be enough that it fatigues the abs by the end. I'd hate for you to have not had some kind of tired abs after this. Nice job. When you're done there, grab one knee with the opposite hand, rotate, stretch. We're just gonna do a quick lower back stretch because I know you guys have to go at 6 o'clock. You doing bonus?
Still up high.
Same thing on the other side, stretch. Yay!
Bye, everyone.
Nice job, guys.
Thank you.
Your hip flexors, thank you. I love the arms reaching out from the ground. Bye, guys.